My name's Drew, and this is my academy. I've owned and operated for the last 5 years. I've been grappling and teaching Jiu Jitsu for over 18 years non-stop. I feel it's my enjoyable duty as your professor to reveal to you what I've come to believe is true for any grappling situation. This is a great conversation because it's a good primer and a beginning for what I'm going to be covering in this series. It's a quick general overview of some of the main topics that I'll be covering in more in depth in the upcoming videos. If you enjoy this video, like, subscribe, and leave us a comment. Also, anytime you're in Houston, feel free to come by and do a drop-in or try a class if you live in the area. Enjoy the video. We're going to start by going over the modes of action that you are capable of performing as a jiu-jitsu fighter, as a martial artist, as a grappler. And as a grappler, you can hang, frame, grip, and do a technique. Again, we're starting with the basic modes of action. This is what the buttons on your controller are, and these are the ones that you can perform. Am I using the controller right? And am I forgetting to press a button that is available to me? And if you're not upgrading your grips, you need to get your grips to where you put your hands on somebody and the grip is correct, just like you're going to put a C chord on a guitar. You're going to use these modes of action to complete these basic options. Using grips and framing and moving with your whole body relative to your opponent is going to give you the clarity. It's going to give you the tools to spot the opening and to notice the openings to do our basic options. And the basic options are real quick: go behind, tip over, submit, and pass the legs. All right, this is all that you can do in jiu-jitsu here. All right, you can analyze it, look it over for yourself. What I'm trying to do is show this as a pattern. The basic options are really important because this is the map that you're going to use. You either go behind, tip over, submit, or pass the leg. Those are your objectives. And if you're not trying to achieve one of these objectives, you're probably lost in the sauce. You're probably lost. You're probably confused, and you're probably frustrated, and you're probably tired, and you're probably losing the fire and desire to be a grappler. All right? But if you are aware of these, you will realize how many options you actually have and how fruitful your next competition actually is. What we're going to do next, after knowing the modes of action, after knowing the basic options, we're going to reveal the stages of grappling. And this is a perception that if you're not aware of in the beginning, it will be really nice to layer on top, like augment reality. Where do you stand? What is the score? Where do you stand in the match? Are you in an advantage? Do you have a disadvantage? And these stages are neutral, advantage, mix-up, finish. All right? The mix-up is a really important part for the stages of grappling. This is where I believe jiu-jitsu really happens and where you can really spot it really clearly. And this is where you can do things effortlessly no matter the size and strength. It's not just the technique. It's the fact that the technique is done at the right opening and the right time, and is done in the truest way, the way where it doesn't require as much willpower or strength, but it does take execution of the move, of articulating your joints in the correct shape. If you mess up the way that you articulate your joints and create the shape of a arm bar, you have a less likely chance to finish any type of submission or basic option, tip over, go behind. What of the above does your opponent not know? And if you can spot something that your partner is not aware of being tipped over, your partner is not using their grips, your partner is not understand that he's in a mix-up, or that they think that if you notice that your partner thinks they have the advantage and they actually are in a mix-up, you just did something effortless to your opponent. And if you didn't, you either messed up on your execution or you didn't notice it fast enough and you didn't act fast enough with your grips. It must have mean you were not connected with a grip or you weren't connected with the frame. And these modes of action connect you to your opponent. This is a two-player game. These things are true because these are what's going to have an effect for sure. If you are unaware of any of these things in these first four main topics, if you're not aware of these things, somebody will defeat you irresistibly. You cannot resist it. You will not be able to resist somebody taking advantage of this it is invisible to you. If any one of these things is invisible to you and your opponent notices it,
they will exploit it.
Well, if they don't exploit it, then they're the one who's messing up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But if you don't know if these four things are not your fundamentals and one of them is absent, you will be manipulated by somebody. You won't even know it, and you'll never be able to fix it because it's too blind. These things are obvious and common, and most people are going to do some little thing about it. But I think it's more important to expose people to this existing than telling them how it connects together.
Yeah.
You should have some type of insight on this on your own, and in the jiu-jitsu academies, you should be getting chance to hone your senses or get a chance to practice noticing and contracting your muscles in a way that leads you to being the one who is surviving and thriving. That's a very good point because you know what you're seeing. You're not seeing the future. You're seeing the present.
Yeah.
And the present is he trying to tip me over? Is he trying to go behind? Is he trying to submit me, or is he trying to pass my legs?
I see.
Or the vice versa, right? But understanding this is what the patterns are, and you need to spot the patterns. It's a mosaic, and these things click in and click out depending on the opponent. This all stays the same. But it's where you fit into this and where your opponent fits into it. It's a two-player game. There's stages to any grappling match. There's basic options, the moves that you can perform, and then there's the modes of action. This is how you perform the basic options. This is how you put yourself in a situation to perform the basic options. This is for a fight or a grappling match. But this is how a grappler would go about it, a grappler who is not interested in throwing a strike, right?
What is that?
Understanding grappling.
Oh, I understand.
I'm not claiming to give a complete series.
I see.
Is the thing. This is a supplement to what you're going to learn in my classes, but it's also something that you should know in the beginning as well. Like you should be aware of this as soon as you can, and then go roll.